Hello everyone, my name is Rafal and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. First of all, I would like to say thank you to everyone for your amazing feedback after posting my last video. Seems like there's a lot of photographers out there who are extremely interested into this topic, and that makes me super happy because this is something which is already here. We can use it, we can utilize, and we can definitely elevate our headshot photography. So with that, I would like to create another video where we're gonna start slowly unpacking more informations to help you with using that technology to elevate your images. So today we're gonna go to basics again, and I'm gonna share with you how I approach this entire process. We're gonna go through some general informations to look for to make this process much easier, and it's gonna help you to get better results. I know there's a lot of photographers who think that using AI and Photoshop is something to fix those images, but I have a little bit of different approach. I don't use AI to fix my images. It's mostly to elevate certain things to make these images look a little bit different, and putting those digital backdrops most of the time to create this specific mood, specific feel from the image. So let's start unpacking some of those elements, which in my opinion are extremely important. And this is the best way, in my opinion, to make this whole thing work better. So let me start with saying that the first and the most important element is making sure that you're starting with the good image. Typically, I want to make sure that the image which will be elevated is already good image, which means has proper lighting, proper face expression, perfect posing, and all those things that makes this image looks good. And I'm going to show you some example how the raw image look like, and then I'm going to show you this entire process. So that's the first step. The next step, which is extremely important in my opinion, before I start applying any backdrops, I want to make sure that the image is already retouched. So the image goes through the retouching process. Typically it's skin retouching. Make sure that the image looks clean, the face is polished. Before I start applying anything using AI, my image is already retouched. So that's something which is crucial, because if you don't do that, sometimes that might cause some additional issues and some additional work which you don't want to do it. The next element is the proper cutout. If you want to use those digital backdrops, you have to make sure that this cutout is done properly. And each image is different, as you probably know. Sometimes there's a lot of hair, there is a lot of things which is hard to cut out, and you can do this two different ways. One, you can do it manually, which I don't recommend it because it's time consuming. Sometimes it's really difficult, especially with the hair and all those elements which are a little bit complex, and it's just hard to do that. I highly recommend it to either use AI to do that, and if you go to Photoshop, AI has this amazing feature which is removing the background. Sometimes it does a good job, sometimes it doesn't, depends on the image. The one recommendation which I have is to using proper lighting, and what that means is basically using contrast kicker lights to make sure that this image in your subject has a nice outline with a little bit of contrast on the edges of the hair, of the wardrobe, and literally you're creating this outline around your subject, so the AI can really easily recognize the difference between the backdrop and the subject. And I found if I do this properly, AI has literally no problem to cutting out this image really nicely without any flaws, without any damages to the subject, and it's just doing good job. I'm gonna do another video how to do it. I'm not gonna go deep into this topic today, but I'm sure a lot of photographers out there who are shooting headshots on the regular basis, you understand exactly what I mean. You just need to add some kicker lights on each side to make sure that your subject has a really nice outline. So that's the next step to make a nice cutout. You don't really have to use green screen. I'm getting a lot of questions from a lot of photographers. Do you use green screen? I don't. You can use literally any type of background. Can be busy, can be literally white, black, whatever you want to use. It doesn't really matter. It seems like nowadays AI can very easily recognize the subject and cut out from the backdrop. The next element, if you have this whole thing cut out, we have to pick the backdrop. And so there's also two ways to do that. You can use one of those prepared backdrops. So typically when I work with my backgrounds, whenever I have those ones which I really like, I save them and I keep them for the future reference. If I have some clients which would like to use the ones which I use already, I use those. Or the other option is you can generate with AI specific backdrop. And again, I'm not going to go deep into this topic. You have to learn how to prompt properly. I would like to invite you to my seminar where I show those entire steps. It's a little bit of work, it's a little bit of time consuming, but I can assure you, if you know how to approach this, how to prompt properly, how to basically communicate with AI, to explain exactly what you're looking for, eventually you will start getting the results you are looking for. So that's the next step. So choosing the backdrop for your subject. And the last step is basically making this whole thing work together. This is another little bit of process, putting those backdrop into the place. You can use AI to do that and fix some of those flaws. It's a little bit of process to make sure this whole thing works together. So this is entire process. It's something that it's a little bit complex, but eventually when you can kind of get hands on it, it's really quick and easy process to do that. I know with the time, with the practice, you can definitely make each image looks spectacular, look unique, and make it look different. And that's the goal with that. I deeply believe that those digital backdrops, they're gonna really take over, and every photographer can create own style of headshots and help clients to have some very unique images. So let's go briefly one more time how I approach this. First of all, the most important thing, you have to start with the good image. The next thing is definitely doing the retouching process prior implementing those backdrops. The next step is creating the cutout, so is literally removing the backdrop from your headshot. Then is choosing the right backdrop for your image and then putting this whole thing together. So that's the entire process. I know it sounds easy, it's a little bit more into it, but at least you have the general information how to approach this. If you have any other specific questions, as I said, we're gonna go deeper in the future videos, but I just wanna basically share with you how this process look step by step from the kind of general perspective. And if you have any questions, any concerns, anything you would like to ask regarding this process, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Again, I would love to invite you to my seminar, which is coming up on January 5th, and with the code AI50 you can get 50% off, and I highly recommend it. It's 3 hours seminar where I go deeply in all those steps and all those elements, and I basically show you everything, how I create those digital backdrops and how I implement them into my images. So thank you for watching, stay tuned, and I will chat with you guys very soon. Bye bye.